forgot. Yeah, because Joanne would kill me. I didn't record.
Yeah, I had the feeling. I saved you.
Thank you. But it was great. I'm yeah, very, very pleased. And it was a gorgeous hotel.
Yeah, that's where I used to
It's
have
a
the shows.
5-star plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hi, Jan and
Hello.
Kenya. How are you? We
Hello.
were talking about
I'm good.
our first event last night. How have you been? I know you've been going through some changes. You okay now?
Still going through them, but trusting the Lord and holding on. Yeah.
That's so
So
great.
great to be here and to see everybody.
Yes.
Too.
Hi, Janet Jet.
Hi, how's everyone?
I like your name.
I
That just
do.
sounds so cute, Janet Jet.
Thank you, funny.
Yeah. So about the call, and I'm so, I just wanted to share with everyone about, what happened last night. And we do have a call, we do have an event rather set up in Houston on the 18th of September. That's next month, and that one is on health and well-being. And our next event is in New Orleans on the 25th of September, the next week.
Oh, wow.
And that one is on reducing recidivism. And then Maureen and I are setting a date before the end of the year for homelessness. So all of our events will be a part of what we're working with the United Nations, and we're going to put that into our project in New Orleans and change that and have that model and once we get it totally finished, get the model done, the citizens are, community is doing well, we bringing that to the White House. So we're being undercover angels.
Okay.
We're doing God's work.
Oh, yes, I'm an agent, honey. Undercover agent.
Yes, that's what we are. So we're working undercover to change lives, and then it's going to be exposed openly.
That's great.
Yeah.
Surprise.
I told the audience last night, I said, we don't have to worry about who's going to be in office. We got this. And they said, yes, we do.
That could be a model. It needs to be more of a team, rather than just one or two people.
Yes, right. Yeah. So it's really great the work that we're doing. Yeah. So let's see. Today's call is the word that Marion is going to pronounce for us.
It's called outvying.
Outvying.
Outvying. And it means to conquer, to transcend, whatever you're going through.
Yeah. So Marion was saying we were talking
could you say
about
the word again, please? Could you say the word again?
Say the word again.
Outvying.
Outvying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we Marion and I was talking about the mental health issues with people and what they've gone through. And so I said, well, we have some of the top mental health specialists in PWIC. I said Nigeria and Gloria Dankins and Jill, who could not be on the call, she's traveling, that you haven't met. Jill taught at she's a psychologist. She taught at Tulane University, and she lives and very well known, and she has a mental health that she wants to talk to you to Najia, because she has something. Yeah, okay. She came up with the whole company on that, on how to deal with it. So I told her, and she said she definitely want to communicate.
What's she dealing with? What did
you
say?
She came up with a company that addresses mental health, where they have people are able to call 24/7 Oh,
What
wait,
happened?
what happened?
We have an ad coming up.
What?
What's an
Hang
ad?
on, let me see if we can get out of it.
Where did that come from? I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's,
That was crazy.
are.
Like it blew me
that was
mind. Like,
crazy.
wait a minute. Okay, we
Just to remind you, you don't own the internet.
Yeah.
there you
Someone
go.
else does.
So anyway, there's so much going on with mental health and people's mind and everybody who's been through trauma in some form of fashion. So Marion came up, let's continue and talk about, like a series of mental health. And so the first person she called was our specialist. I've seen Najia work and I've heard her work. And Najia is called as one of the specialists in court system that can pull out things from children and people in trauma that nobody else can do.
Wow.
And so
I'll be listening to him.
and then I heard her speak at Dr. Honeycutt's, event. And I said, so I'm thinking that she had strategic training on the things that she does to address the problem. And she said, no, God gave me that. I didn't get that in school. She has an anointing on her in that area.
I'll do what God tell me to do.
Yeah, and it's phenomenal. And people are taken by her. She's been in the prisons and
Yeah.
able to reach hard-nosed criminals that nobody else want to touch.
Yeah.
So I am not only was she the bodyguard for Muhammad Ali, she is so brilliant in the area. And I hear how she talked to people, how she's talked to my family and saying things and give me input.
GPS signal lost.
And I thought like, wow, that was some heavy training. She said, no, I didn't get that training.
Wow.
So today we're going to honor Dr. Najia, and also Marion has had training in that area as well. And able to address a lot of things. So, I thank her for her wisdom, and she's so want to help people so much to make them whole and complete. So we will we don't quite know how it's going to go, but we'll have a series to help people deal in trauma, because sometimes we don't even realize we're in trauma.
Yeah.
Or we think we're okay and we're not. I've had it. And I didn't know I had, like, I didn't know. I'll tell you about that, but I'm so excited about last night. I'm excited about today. So I am going to turn it over to Marion and Najia, and how the two of you want to address the article for today on.
Yeah.
Out.
I say it again.
Out.
Out.
And it's just like flying a plane, but it's with a V.
Outvying. Okay.
Outvying.
Outvying.
Outvying. And the reason we kind of went with that is because we can't just be living in trauma all the time. And for us, we do deal with all different types, every day in our missions. And some of the things that we touch on are difficult areas, and it may, cause us to have trauma. So we felt as though, writing an article, and then as it developed, we were like, well, maybe this should go into a series. But the first thing that we chose to discuss today was just looking at the psychological mental disorder of PTSD. Now, all of us have had trauma in our lives, and what this article, what we are trying to convey to you is how to overcome your trauma triggers.
Yes.
We know that in our missions and our projects that we give and we give and we give, and it's very emotional, but we have to know that we draw our strength from the compassion that God gave us for those people, and the understanding and the training that we've had to address and to help people that are suffering, you know,
And,
and
and also those of us who are suffering and have no clue.
have no clue.
And
Yes.
that we know it, and that we don't have no trauma triggers anymore. So that's what we want to break through. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, there are things that trigger
Well,
us, and we want to say when
Mhm.
those words come up or that situation, that we know how to strongly deal with it as the powerful
Right.
women that we are.
Right. And
Yeah.
both Najia and I were trained in cognitive behavioral therapy. It's called CBT for short. And there are a few different ways to treat psychological conditions, and the cognitive behavioral therapy is Nigeria in my area that we studied. Now, as we go and we talk about how to conquer our trauma triggers, I'd like you to also think about who you deal with every day, and is it possible that they might have another disorder, you know, a psychological disorder? And if so, we'll band together and we'll write about that the next time, whenever that is. I'm
Yeah,
going to hand it
we'll
over to
figure it out.
Najia.
Yes.
I'm going to hand it over to Najia.
Oh,
You take
you're
it away.
not. Go ahead, you're doing good, girl.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me.
Well, give
Gosh.
us your input on, you know, on your idea of trauma, you know, how we could break through trauma, Nigeria.
Well, we all have issues, every
Yeah.
single one of us, and it has a lot to do with our upbringing. It really starts from the womb, because we're born into this world, and we're born in the world socially. I mean, babies come in the world being socials, social workers. But this life that we live in, we're living in it, but God has already preordained everything that we do, who we are, and what we're going to be. As it says in Jeremiah 1:3, I knew you before. And I always feel, or I've felt, that he put me here for a reason, to help other people. Because it's in me so much that, you know, I get mad at myself because I won't even take care of me because I'm taking care of somebody else. And I know some of you are like that. You might not say it, but you know that you have this longing. I do. I have this longing to help. I have this longing to lift up. And I really have a longing for this next generation. I feel that I have something to give them. I want to help them do what they got to do, because they're the next, you know, they're the next future for us. So in my quest in doing this work, I work under different models. I use Gestalt. I don't know if you know what that's about, but Gestalt is where you actually put a chair in the middle of the floor, and you ask a person to take that chair. And that person can be a live person, or it can be a person that's moved on, and you've been holding these grudges, or you got something to say. You talk to it. You ask the spirit to sit, and you talk to it, and God gives you the information. And for me, it works perfectly. I'm untraditional, like um, Valerie said. When I work in the prisons, I work with the Crips, the Bloods, the skinheads, um, the killers, the rapists. I don't know. I'm not afraid when I go in with them. Uh, it seems like I become like a parent to some of them, because I have a unique style of approach. My approach, the guards say, I hit them from the back door. They think I'm going to come one way, but I come the back way. And that surprises them. Um, And I know a lot of you have these feelings. I do. I shouldn't say for you, but for me, I have these feelings where God is telling me what to do. And when I'm obedient and I listen to that small voice, it's always on target. It's when I call myself, oh, well, I'm going to just do, and I mess up. So what I think we have to do is be like that baby and be social and tune in to God, be social with him. Um, he's my teacher and my trainer. He helps me. He keeps me alive. Over 7 times I've met death, literally, and he's brought me through, brought me back, you know, to life. So I say, Lord, you keep saving me. What are you saving me for? um, but today I wanted to touch bases with post-traumatic stress syndrome. That's very dangerous because you've experienced, to get it, you have to have experienced something that was very, very traumatic. I deal with my son and other vets and his partners, and they have this post-traumatic stress because of the trauma they've experienced being in the war. And it seems to come on them, and they seem like they can't control it. And they know they're out of control, but they're trying to handle it. And it's very difficult for them to do that. They don't sleep. They get really irritable, angry, anxious, depressed. They go through all the emotions. Not only have I dealt with the vets with the post-traumatic, I've dealt with children that have post-traumatic stress. And I was really surprised to find out that we have children that have it. I had a little girl, this family, their parents, did their parents die? I can't remember what happened to their parents, but they were put in foster care. And the foster home they put them in, the man wouldn't feed them, and he was very harsh and cruel. And so they were hungry. I know one of the girls was hungry one night, and she got up to go in the cookie jar and get a cookie, and he caught her, and he beat her viciously, that she ran out the house down the street, and he chased her and beat her back to the house. And so when he beat her back, she was bleeding. She had bruises and stuff all over. So she got into bed with her other sister and told her sister that she was gonna die. And that morning when they woke up, the little girl was dead. Um, and the man who did that put her body in the tub to wash away some of the blood, because they had to call the police. They had to call social services. He got a dead baby here, and he tried to clean it up. But the children, her siblings, were so traumatized because they watched him beat her, and it ignited with them, and they couldn't get that out of their head. They couldn't see anything but the beating and the blood and the bathtub. So as things went on and progress on, she went to school, and the teacher kept, well, she was in school, and she would start screaming and hollering and running around and crying and falling on the floor, and they couldn't understand. The nurses at schools would try to figure out, they couldn't figure out what was going on with her. And so when they called me in to figure it out, I went to the school and I just sat back in the back and watched. She did. And what triggered her was another man. It was a Black man. He was a janitor. He came in the room to take the garbage out. And as soon as she saw him, she started screaming and hollering and going off. And they couldn't understand why she couldn't see certain things. And it was because of the post-traumatic stress that she was experiencing of seeing her sister, being in the bed with her sister when she died, and seeing the beatings and all of that. So it's really hard to beat them. And so I had to teach the school how to handle her when she goes off at her episodes, when she experienced those episodes, because they didn't know what to do. But what I did was I had them to talk to her, tell her that she's safe, that the man isn't there. He's not the man that beat and killed your sister. So it took time. I had to work with the school. I had to work with the teachers, had to work with the little girl. She's grown now and has a baby.
Uh,
had to do therapy. Now, there's a difference between therapy and counseling. It's a difference. And with post-traumatic, you're going to need some therapy. You're going to need therapy for that one. It's a tough one. And we're going to talk about some areas where we can ground you or ground someone that you know that can help out with that. But we use cognitive because cognitive is what we're doing now is talking back and forth. That's what the cognitive part is about. And not only cognitive, I use a little gestalt where I can have them talk like I have her sit and talk to her sister in the chair to get that out of her. But and then the other thing that I really like to use is the meditation, mindfulness. Mindfulness is an intervention that is more like meditation. If I can say that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like meditation. And you're able to calm yourself because that's what you'll have to do when you're dealing with someone, or if you have it yourself. We have to learn to listen to our bodies. We don't listen to our bodies enough. And that makes us anxious. And we always, okay, I got to do this. Oh, no, I got to. Well, mindfulness helps you to calm that so that you can tell yourself, you have to talk to yourself. At one point in our lives, people said you were crazy if you talk to yourself. That's not true. It's not true at all. We need to talk to ourselves. The Marines use it when in one of their battle tactics is they tell the soldiers when they're out in the field and they're fighting, they talk to themselves to get them through it, to put them through what they're experiencing. So we use mindfulness. We talk to ourselves. We ground ourselves in meditation. And I would mind doing a little bit of that today if we have enough time. And also, we ground ourselves in seeing what we see, what we smell, the sounds we hear, the taste and the touch. And I'm going to go over that with you so you'll know how to do that. Talking to yourself, it's like what happened today. The devil is in the mix. He gets you going and upset, and you just you got to say to yourself, you know what? Just settle down, shut up, and be quiet. Sit down and just and I want you to try this when you get home. Just sit in a chair, in a comfortable chair, and just let every bone, every muscle, every tissue in your body, let it go. Let it just fall to the, just fall to the side, let your head fall over. And I want you to take notice of what happens to your body when you do that. You'll feel your neck go over to the side. You'll feel the muscles in your arms drop, in your buttocks drop. Now, I want to just try something right now with all of you while we're sitting here. I would like for you to just sit back in your chair, get comfortable, put your shoulders down, put your arms down, just relax. Let your head fall over to the side. Just don't even try to look at anything. And I want you to start your head, just say, head, just relax. Don't think of anything. Blank out your mind. Don't even think about the bills and what you got to do and what you're going to say. Just relax. And then I want you to feel it. I feel it when I do it. I can feel my chest dropping. Then you move from your chest, move down into your shoulders and let your shoulders go. Try it. Relax. Let the air out. Let your head fall to the side. Let your arms fall, your fingers. Let them just hang. Then relax your stomach. Take another deep breath and let that air come out. Let it go down. Go down to your back. Relax your back, fall back. Let your head fall to the side. Let it fall. Don't try to look at anything. Don't try to, prep yourself up. Let it go. Go down into your buttocks, relax those muscles in your thighs. Don't think of anything. Tell yourself, I'm relaxed. I'm comfortable. I'm going to let go of all the tension in my body. I'm going to let go of all the agony, the pain. I'm going to let it go and let it go. Let your knees fall apart. Let it go down into your ankles and your feet. Let it go. Let them fall over to the side. Kick your shoes off. Now just stay there for a minute and clear your mind. Don't think of anything and anybody. Relax. Tell yourself that you have greatness inside of you, that God lives inside of you. Tell yourself that you are free. Talk to yourself. Compliment yourself. Say that I'm beautiful just as I am. You're a work in progress. God loves me. Say it. God loves me. I love me. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Say it to yourself and say, I'm better. I'm greater. God's going to use me for a special work. He's using me now. I'm getting ready to fight his battle because I'm an undercover agent for him. Wiggle your toes. Move your ankles as you come back to life and come back into this realm that we're in. Move your ankles. Move your knees. Come on back. You can do it. Come on back into the buttocks. Move it. Your waistline. Slowly come back together into your shoulders, your chest, your head. Slowly come back into the room. See the room, feel the room, the air in the room. Open your eyes and tell yourself that you love you. I love you, Najia. Say it. I want to hear it. Each one of you, say it. I love you. And say your
I
name.
love you.
Say
I love you, Najia.
Say your name.
I love you, Marion.
Yes. Okay. That's just a small grounding exercise that you can do at home. You need to clear your mind of all that. And that's one way to help. Other ways, are y'all all back?
Yeah, I'm back. I didn't want to come back, but I am.
Yes.
Great.
I was resting in this bed with all white fluffy sheets and fluffy pillows.
Oh,
I wasn't coming back, but I am.
So I'm going to give you a homework assignment when I get through, but if I do that now, we won't get to the other stuff, but I need to talk about some other grounding techniques that you can use. And the other one is sight. When you feel yourself getting anxious and depressed or whatever that is that the devil's trying to make you do, look around for something that's pleasant. Look around and see color, flowers or decorations, and bring that into and admire it. The other one is smell. You can use something that smells good. Sometimes I'll smell cloves, those little cloves that you cook with. You can use peppermint. That helps you to bring it back when you start feeling funny and getting depressed and all of that. Think about the peppermint. Also, use sound, like put on some music, put on the word, put on something that's going to take your mind away from the depression and the feelings of anxiousness. Then I like this one, is to cut a lemon in half and then bite into that lemon. And something else that will wake you up is to cut an onion in half and then
Oh.
bite into that onion.
Oh.
Yeah, I bet
I'll
that
do
will
it.
wake you up.
It'll wake you up and bring you back to reality real quick. And then the other one is ice. You can pick up some ice and feel that ice. That helps you when you're dealing with post-traumatic situations from your past. Now, those situations, you don't have to go to war to have post-traumatic. You can have somebody in your family pass away, a friend that passed away. You don't always have to be in the war. It don't have to be done to you. It could be done to your child or a friend or associate, and you will be triggered behind their death or their situation. So you can still use it, but you can help somebody else out. When you have a child that's going through it, you have to go in there and talk to them like I'm talking to you, have them relax and do the grounding techniques that I just spoke about. All right. Anybody got any questions so far? We all good? And we all back in the room, right?
We're back.
Okay. I like to, and that's done through cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, I'm not trying to do therapy because I can't. The field of psychology is heavily ruled, is very demanding, and they have so many restrictions, especially on me and people that are we're clinicians. They allow us to do certain things and certain things they do not allow. They have copyrights on certain words. Did you know that? That we can't use. Like the word psychological. I can't use that word unless you are licensed to do so. If you're not licensed, you cannot do it. They will come hard and heavy on you with that. So we're limited. That's why I say we're doing we're not doing therapy, we're doing counseling. Okay. So let me see, where am I at? I went off track here. I like this scripture, Philippians 4:18, which encourages us to focus on whatever is true, noble, right, and pure, lovely, and admirable. I can't even say it, but it's how we think. What you think is important, and how you think. You can make your day a pleasant day by thinking pleasant. You can make it a miserable day by thinking about miserable things. So we have the control. We just have to use it. And that's what that statement, that scripture is referring to, is that it's how you think. If you think that you're ugly, you're going to feel ugly and you're going to see yourself as being ugly. But if you think
That's
that you are somebody and that you're smart and you're intelligent and you're whatever, the positive things, you will start to feel that way. Because the way we think and what we think affect us physically, because you will become ill if you continue to think negative of yourself. You'll end up with some type of disease in your body, because your body can't handle that negative stuff. And if it does, it turns to disease. And that's where we get a lot of our health problems from, is because of the way we think, which causes us to do certain things that are damaging to our bodies. All right. The other scripture that I can't keep my glasses on is, how do you say it? Ecclesiastics?
Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes.
Yeah, 4:9, which is a very good one, and it emphasizes the strength that's found in companionship. We need each other. I can't do this without you. You can't do it without me. And if we have a disagreement, I think the Lord tells us to don't sleep on it, don't go to bed on it, wake up in the morning, forgive it. If you want to be forgiven, then you have to forgive somebody else.
Yes.
And that also helps you with your with you grounding with yourself. It all connects. It's all connected in some type of way. It all connects back to us being. I can't keep these glasses on. What was I saying? It all connects, and it helps us to be healthier. And you'll notice that when you think positive, and when you go out in the street with strangers, and I always try to think that it's a statement that I say when I get in my car. I say, Lord, move all stumbling stones out of my path.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere I go, Lord, people love me and I love them. And Lord, no weapon tongue formed against me will prosper. So I always say that when I get in my car to go anywhere, to the grocery stores, wherever, right? When I get in the grocery stores, I'm picking my food off the shelf and people are walking up to me saying, can I help you with something? Here, do you want that? And I'll be like, oh, well, yeah, you can get. Then when I get to the counter to check out, they want to put my food on the counter. I'll be like, Lord, thank you for that help. Then somebody else I get to my car and open the door, and now they put my food in the car. I'll be like, Lord, it's because I commanded it. I commanded it when I got in the car. When I left the house, I spoke it out. It's about what you say out your mouth. We have the power. There's a scripture, and I should have brought that with me, that says the power is in your tongue. So every time I say, I don't care where I go, I'm standing in line and I don't even know where this man came from. He came from behind me and he was like, oh, ma'am, let me put your groceries on the shelf. And I said, since you're going to put it on the counter, do you want to pay for it too? You can pay for it. I give you permission to pay for it. But it's about us. It's what we do. We do this to ourselves. Okay? So find a prayer that you can say something positive. Every time you walk out there, I guarantee somebody's going to bless you. And then I want to hear it when we come back to our next meeting. How many people bless you as a result of you speaking life over yourself? Does that make sense? See, this is my untraditional counseling. I don't know. It just works with me. It works.
Let it work.
People learn from it. They prosper from it. So and I'm trying to make sure I cover everything that we come. Did I miss something, Marion? Did I
No,
need
you're doing great. That's pretty much it. We're just trying to assist, when one of us is dealing in a certain area, and it may be human trafficking, sex trafficking, you name it. And if we've had anything like that happen in our lives, it'll take us right back there. But like you said, it's your mind that has to keep you here. You have to stay in the now, whatever it takes to keep yourself in the now and not go back to that stressful happening, right?
Right.
So, some of this you can talk yourselves through. Some of it you actually do need therapy,
Yes.
to help you if you've been through something
really
horrible.
bad. You need to do that. Yeah.
And I welcome Carol Ruth. She came in late. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
I'll hand it back to you, Valerie. Thank you, Nujia. That was fabulous.
Can we ask, can we do one other little thing? Is that
Sure.
okay? Is how do we do therapeutic interventions and obstacles or triggers with post-traumatic, so you get to stabilize yourself? So, oh no, that was a question. Is there a question? There was a question that asked about that. Does anybody have any questions? What strategies we can employ? Anybody?
Yeah, let's hear some input of what people got out of it and what they think about the trauma and with what you and Marion said. So Maureen, I am gonna call on you first. What's your input? What's your input about this session?
Well, I think it's just good to acknowledge the fact that you know, exactly what you said earlier. Sometimes we don't, first we have to recognize it in ourselves, and it's okay. I think sometimes people want to be so stoic and so strong, and you don't want to think that, that you've had anything like that. And I know even like, you know, people that have been, you know, in the different, you know, wars, and they don't even have to be that old, but sometimes they just think that they're too strong, that they dealt with anything. But then once they start to peel that back, you know, we can we realize what we've been through, and it doesn't have to always be, and it could be a lot of little things too that compound. And then, but I think what we find out is it really, you know, we stuff it, we stuff a lot of things, but that is takes
Yeah.
a toll on your body. And like Nigeria said, it can present itself in wearing your body down, types of diseases, because it has to
Yeah.
come out somewhere. And if we don't acknowledge it and talk about it, it does kind of rear its head in other ways. But I do think sometimes we want to be so strong and proud, we don't think of what we've been through as something, you know, reaching to the level of a post-traumatic, but it could be a lot of little things, or it can be things that we've stuffed in our lives too. And we don't want to acknowledge it, but I think just listening to this conversation today, it kind of gives us a little more permission, me personally, a permission to kind of acknowledge different things. And, you know I see it at work, you know, at the shelter, you know, so much of what the people are dealing with there, you know, so much is the mental health, and different traumas that they, you know, because we say that, you know, the people that are the homeless people, because we really have the most vulnerable. And but somewhere they've suffered trauma, but now they're also acknowledging that just the trauma of being homeless is, you know, that is recognized as a trauma, you know, not just for, you know, moms or kids, but even, you know, the different men that are homeless, you know, that's traumatic for them. And sometimes it's not recognized. I think it's always post-traumatic stress was always aligned with the military or some kind of a military experience. But I think to bring this into conversation, to make it more of an everyday life um, thing, something to investigate and talk about. So I think it's really good.
Awesome. Thank you for your input. And you are so right, because one of the things when Marion mentioned, you know, about doing the series on mental health, it's we don't recognize when we have it. So I'm always thinking positive, always trying to be in the moment, as Nigeria talked about. And I had, you know, had no idea that I had trauma through Hurricane Katrina. And when I first came to San Francisco, there was the United Way and the Red Cross. They came and talked. So all the agencies would surround people who were in different states after Katrina, the mayor's office and all of the Red Cross and the United Way and agencies. So they came and said, you know, they came and talked to me. I was working at the time at Landmark Education. And they came on the lunch and asked, you know, Valerie, what do you need? Because it was time, I was living in a hotel. It was time to transition from the hotel to an apartment. And they said, well, Valerie, what are you going to need? And so my mind went straight to, I have the hotel. They have sheets. They have towels. I have clothes. I said, I don't need anything. And they looked at each other. And they said, well, Valerie, you're going to need furniture. And I went, furniture. I heard that word. What is furniture? You know, I didn't know that it was blank, and you know that my mind had you know that I was traumatized. So what I was told later when I talked to someone that deals with mental health, not knowing I had it, you know, like I don't do that. So they said, well, Valerie, when your mind went to the hotel because you were holding on to safety, you knew you were safe, and you weren't thinking at the time you're transitioning. That's why they looked at each other, you know, like you need stuff, you know. And I was going like, no, I'm holding you. And I subconsciously, that was amazing to me. And there was another, situation where people were on staff in a meeting. And the next time, I won't go into the whole story, but the next time we talked on that subject, I said, that's amazing. So they asked, what was your move? And that meant, what do you do when you get angry, upset? Like you just go start cleaning up, you go plant flowers, you shut down, you don't want to talk, like that. And so they asked me what was my move, and I said, well, I moved from New Orleans to San Francisco. Like, told I didn't, and I said, and later when they told me, I said that. I was like, yes, we go through things. And so as powerful women, I want us to know how to deal with these things, that we be free, that we know how to deal with other people and situations, our peers, workers, our community, and the people that we're serving. So if we know from all of these experts, then we could be even stronger and go through and not be triggered by our triggers. Know how to deal with them more powerfully. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So let's see. Let me hear from you, Paula. I know you got off, so we're dealing with this subject. And you missed the exercise that Najia did. I was mentally in my bed with all these fluffy white pillows. She did this exercise where you just relax. I didn't want to come back. But anyway, let me just hear from you on this. What are your thoughts?
Well, to begin with, I have had plenty of therapy. I have had plenty of behavior modification. My degree was in psychology.
Really?
I have also taught in an alternative high school. I have worked with people that have been through the criminal justice system. And so I have a lot of background that I use for myself.
Wow.
Things that I have learned on how to cope with triggers and how to cope with other people that I deal with all the time. I have like a checklist. If someone doesn't remember a conversation they had with me and it was related to themselves, that's the first checklist. If I talk to someone on several occasions about how they're dealing with themselves and what they're going through. And like you said, when you first got here, you were in shock and you didn't realize it.
No.
And I believe that for many, many of us that have good, close friends or are in a network like the one that you offer for us here, people are not aware of their incapacities. They're not aware of them. And even if we call them out, if they don't remember and they're beginning to show signs, then there's nothing you can do to help these people. All you can do is go on and deal with them as if you're meeting them for the first time every single time. And it has to do a lot with how we cope. Just as I'm sure Dr. Nigeria and Marian and other people that have been trained psychologists understand, you can only be as much help as you can be to that person when that person says, I'm going to do this myself. I can't give this to someone else to do. I have to manage my own health. I have to manage my own memories. I have to manage my own behavior. No one else is going to help me do this. Someone else that has an influence over you, you might listen to a little bit more carefully. But those of us that have been through the good therapists and the good therapy times, we all understand it's not on somebody else, it's on us. It's only ourselves. I mean, we have to look in the mirror every day and say, hello, how are you? Do you remember what you ate yesterday or last week or what you said to somebody 3 days ago? Why is somebody upset with me? What did I say? If you can't remember what you said to someone and they got upset with you, then you've got to go back to your own notebook, back to your own mental health checklist. You have to go back to your physical health, because remember, if we have a bad thyroid, that affects your hormones. If we have an imbalance in your hormones, that affects the way you act, how you behave, how you talk. And I don't know about you guys, but I tell you what, every time you go through something and you try to get out of it, you're going through a rebranding.
Wow.
You rebrand yourself every single time, dependent upon who your audience is, dependent upon who influences you. Now, I'm not one of those 20,000 influencers, you know, people that follow me around, because I learned early on that if you want to become an influencer, you have to be influencing yourself first. So as far as triggers go, yeah, everybody's got triggers. We're all old. We have a bunch of triggers. What, we want to just list them all and talk about them every single time? Not me. No. Every day, one half a trigger at a time, not even one whole trigger. Do we want to talk about all the triggers that we've had in our life? No, because then we're going to be triggering the triggers.
Yeah.
So what kind of help are we? If we know that there's so many triggers for so many people, gee, why don't I give you a trigger blast? No, I'm not giving out any trigger blasts today, am I, gang?
That's great. Thank you so much, Paula. And I didn't know you had that background. Thank you so much for sharing and that you worked in the prisons too. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, well,
I keep learning more.
It was a lot, you know.
Yeah,
but you don't want to talk about everything all the time. You don't want to dump. And that's what I find, that a lot of people think that it's helpful to dump all your triggers on one person at a time. Forget about it.
Yeah.
You know, we have to be more conscious of what we say and who we say it to. And there's no room for being, what's that button I used to see? Wicked, evil, mean, and nasty. No, we don't be like that. We can't be like that.
Yeah.
You have to be kind and generous and cognizant at all times about what we say and how we say it and how it affects people.
Right.
Behavior modification teaches us how to change our behavior.
Yeah.
How to be more cognizant of how we ourselves are behaving.
Yes.
And I just like to say that this is a very powerful group, so we have to take care of each other and try and be the most positive, with or without the she God or the he God or the Jesus or everything that's supernatural or unnatural. We have to take in the world around us for ourselves and let ourselves shine for others. And if that shine helps you, then your shine helps me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Paula. And you
You're
look
welcome.
pretty in the orange too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Denise, what are your insights? Denise Strong, Dr. Denise Strong, calling on you.
Calling Dr. Strong.
Calling Dr. Strong.
I'll put myself on mute now.
You're
Oh,
on mute,
okay.
Denise. Okay.
Yeah, what I was thinking about was the cultural bias against thinking about our minds, and that that part of what we need to do is shift the bias against thinking about our minds. It's just astonishing the power of our brains and what we don't know about our brains and brain health, and how that then affects our minds, which then affects what we do. But there is a cultural bias in some parts of the society that that therapy is, air quotes, dumb, or therapy is junk. And, my take on, and there are some major influencers who make these proclamations about, if you go to therapy, you're weak, or therapy is the source of the downfall of our civilization, making those kinds of proclamations, which suggests to me that those people are actually afraid. That's what that suggests to me. You know, that there are people who are fearful of holding up a mirror. Therapy, thinking about ourselves, is essentially holding up a mirror. Like, who are we really? And given that we have the ability to both think about ourselves and be ourselves, so we have a dual track. We can think about ourselves while we are in fact doing what we're doing. And it's like, that's essentially what some people are afraid to do that. I don't want to think about myself. I'm afraid of what I might find, or I'm afraid of what I might do. So I'm going to denigrate and demean the whole entity of work called, air quotes, therapy. So that's just something for us to think about as well.
Great point. Great point. Love it.
That's awesome. Carol Ruth, do you have any input? Our legend, Carol Ruth.
Well, first I want to apologize for being late. Among other important things I was doing, I was making a Harris button, Harris Biden, because she's running on Biden's record as his vice president. So but I apologize for being late. I did hear Dr. Najina's suggestion that one make a statement of affirmation upon getting into the car or going somewhere, or being ready to interact with other people. And I just want to affirm that if you are in a mode of, I'm going to do whatever I'm doing, I'm going to meet other people, and they are going to love me, they are going to be positive, and I am going to be positive to them. And the outward manifestation of that experience, or that I won't call it a demand, but that suggestion to other people that they should treat you well and that they should love you, is a smile. And when I was a very little kid, somebody told me, if you smile, whether you feel like smiling or not, if you smile, you will feel internally the smiling effect. You will smile at yourself if nobody's around and if nobody else is watching. So I always make a positive, particularly when I'm going among strangers to the grocery store or whatever. I try, if I'm not if I'm feeling bad, or if I can't find the kind of mustard that I wanted to buy, I'm feeling no, that I don't like that, I still try to smile at the grocery checker, at the people that I'm experiencing. And I find that people smile back. That is the outward manifestation of, I see you, I value you, I'm here for you. And I'm also interested, Paula, I never realized that you had been through so much. Paula, my old friend, my meme, as I have called her, I have never realized that you went through so much therapy. I have never been in therapy. I have never talked to a psychiatrist, psychologist. I don't know what that experience is, but I have never had it. So all I can do is enjoy the fruits of your experience with this kind of thing. But that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to validate what Dr. Najina was talking about, and to say it really does work. If you project through a smile or whatever, the feeling of I value you, you should value me, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see Marion have a hand up. Before you speak, Marion, let me just say concur with Nigeria and Carol Ruth. Is that we had an exercise in one of the programs I was in with Landmark to just speak to people, like get on an elevator and just tell everybody hello. People walking down the street, just speak to them. And so I did it. You know, there was a lot of people in the elevator. I went in, I went, hello, and everybody like, hi. And they had this man walking down the street in a business suit, and he looked like he was really concentrating. And he had his briefcase just walking like, you know, maybe an attorney or something going to, that's what I thought about. And I said, hello. And he turned to me, he jumped and went, hi, like he needed that. And it was just a really great experience to go through that. Okay, Marion, turn it over to you.
Oh, I just had a quick comment after, hearing what Carol Ruth said. It's, positive mental attitude. You can say that it doesn't count for anything and you cannot believe in it, but I am here to tell you, I use it every single day of the week, everywhere I go with everyone. And everyone looks at me and said, I don't understand. Where does your positive mental attitude come from? I said, well, number one, I think I was born with it. But number two, I know that if I believe that God is helping me through something, it's true. And anyways, the one example I want to use, and I'll make it really quick. Yesterday, I had to call Verizon. My phone was doing something weird. And I get this guy named John. And, I said, well, where are you, John? And he said, well, I'm in the Philippines. And I said, oh, well, how is it in the Philippines today? He said, we're having a cyclone. I said, what? You're having a cyclone right now and you're at work? And he goes, yeah. And I go, well, I'm going to pray for your cyclone to calm down and everybody's going to be okay. He said, yeah, I just became a daddy yesterday. My wife gave birth and we just had a new son. And I said, oh, congratulations. That's fabulous. And then he asked me how I was doing. I made a couple comments. And by the time the call was over, we were both praying for each other.
Uh-oh.
It was so beautiful,
Yeah. It makes
you
a
open
difference.
yourself up. People see your divine light. They do. Anyway, sorry. I'll be quiet now.
Thank you so much. Okay, Connie. Connie in Florida.
You're on mute. Here we go.
Okay, very interesting. I taught in a school for severely emotionally it was a residential treatment center for severely emotionally disturbed adolescents. So I learned a lot there. Also met wonderful psychologists I married, which was very good to have an in-home psychologist. I gotta recommend that. So anyway, we went on and later adopted 2 children from Romania with severe attachment, failure to thrive. The daughter was sexually abused at 2 and had cigarette burns on her scalp. So we've been dealing with trauma for the last 30 some years with them. And then our son was in Afghanistan and came back with post-traumatic stress and major injuries. And since then, 5 of his buddies have committed suicide. So we are very, very, very aware of post-traumatic stress. That said, I also had some issues growing up and didn't even get my forever home until I was 8, which had made me passionate about helping some children that hadn't gotten a home. Anyway, what I do with them is I teach them happy chemicals. I teach them how to hack their brains. For instance, when you talked about smiling at people in the store, what you're doing, they're just releasing oxytocin to them. And you also, it's called the love hormone. Well, so many children don't get that hormone much when they're growing up and little. So when you, it's really good, but when you give it to others, you also get it back. And you can get it spending that time with your pet. You can get it with physical touch, helping others, giving compliments, showing kindness. Now, there's another way. I'm all for pickleball because it helps stop the cortisol from racing down to the dark side, and panic attacks and anxiety and depression. And when you play pickleball, all of a sudden it redirects it to the hypothalamus. And exercise, connection with others, laughing, that helps. That brings endorphins to the brain. And endorphins, you can get it with laughing, watching a funny show. You mentioned oils, special different mineral oils, and of course exercise. But serotonin, that hack is for your mood stabilizer, and that's where the meditation comes. Meditation, mindfulness, prayer, spending time in nature, going to the beach. This is why so many veterans and other homeless go to the woods, because it's giving them something to help them. And then exercising also helps. So, and dopamine is the reward chemical. And that chemical, you're probably saying, wow, what does that do? Because you don't really hear about that as much. Every time you complete a task, something you really want to get done, there's a rush, isn't there? And it's eating out and drinking well, and feeling that you're celebrating a goal you've reached. Don't you know the Olympics? They are all, after last night, they are all on a dopamine high from just the incredible show and being in the show and feeling the unity of so many nations together. So, and it also comes from trying things new. I study the brain all the time. And I know there are so many hacks that we can teach our kids, and that's what I like to do. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
That's so great. Thank you so much. Janet Jett, you have any input for us?
Wow, so much, so much. My brain goes all over the place. Right now, I am suffering from a lack of endorphins from being at a kids' camp all week.
Oh.
I had to go off camera for a minute when we were doing the exercise because I was like almost nodding out to sleep. But what you are talking about, it's so good. I really enjoyed what you had to say, Naji, and everybody else. It reminds me of a little book that I have used over the years. Someone gave it to me when I had cancer, and it says God's Creative Power for Healing, and it's by Charles Capps. And in it, it says your words set the cornerstones of your life, and you live within the confines of that boundary you create with your own words. Situations, circumstances, and conditions are all subject to change. And then it goes on to say a person's answer to the question, is your health excellent, good, fair, or poor, is a remarkable predictor of who will live or die over the next 4 years, according to new findings. And it goes on and on and on with all the studies that have been done. And I tell you, when I went through cancer, I just prayed these scriptures, said them out loud, declared them, did not allow my mind to go to the place of self-pity or I'm going to die or anything like that. And there's so much I could say about this subject. I too have studied psychology. I did a certificate program that was certified alcohol and drug counseling certificate. And what I really got out of that was I went to school to help my brother who was a severe alcoholic, and he is no longer with us. And that's why I went to school for that and found that I could not help somebody unless they wanted to help themselves. And that's what one of you guys also brought out. And that those courses, like a 2-year course and shoved into 1 year, really transformed my life. I was able to see things that I had gone through as a child. And even over the years, just, just always seeing the things that I went through that were really traumatic, that were really just surviving, trying to survive, and how it affected me. But one of the things for sure that those classes taught me, and I went back and took several more psychology classes and stuff, was just how codependent I had been. If I can make you happy, then I'll be happy. And so just a lot of things I've learned through, I always read self-help books. And I always have at least like 3 books I'm trying to read on something that has to do with, And I've worked with autistic kids, used the cognitive, behavior, all those different, just touched a little bit on them. And then, but the thing about smiling at someone, it is such a gift when you smile at somebody and they smile back. Their whole face lights up. I think it really does everybody good just to smile back and forth at each other. And something that I've done over the years and I really love to do is doing games, like even at the camp with the girls. I do these coordinated games and they're so much fun. You get to see the kids, their faces, how their personalities are, everything gives them so much fun. And I've done that with grown-up men when I worked with my husband at a Christian rehab. And just to see, you get to see them they may have been surviving and traumatized and just stopped learning when they were using drugs as a kid. But here they are being able to be a kid, and it just it helps their heart, and it brings so much joy to me. So lots of stuff I could say, but I'm just wonderful to be in this meeting to hear all of this. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you, Najia and Marion. I really appreciate the input, and we all will always grow from these events. And I love dealing with this mental health because so many people have it. And like myself, didn't even know it, the trauma, us to heal ourselves. And I was happy to hear that Paula had some training and dealt with the inmates and too. Thank you for doing that, by the way. Oh,
Can I add? I said I wanted to give y'all an assignment. Is when you get through, can I give you the assignment?
yes,
Are you ready now?
yes.
Okay. The assignment is that I'd like for each one of you to think about, I want you to create your own little island. And in your island, I want you to decorate it or put whatever you want in that island. And this is going to be your safe place that you go to when you're feeling anxiety, depression, or whatever it is. But I need you to create it. Now, I have an island, and it's grassy, thick grass, and then it changes as I walk through the trail. I get to the beach part where the sand is at. And then over to my left, I have a ocean, and I have a boat that's flat, and I can get in my boat and lay down and meditate and sleep in this boat. And on my right side, I have a forest with beautiful trees and flowers in it. So whenever I get to a point that I'm really anxious or something's going on, I go to my island that I designed. And that's where I get in my boat and I lay down and look at the sky and I just listen. I love to listen to silence when it's nothing. You don't hear anything. And all you can hear is the fly over your head or the mosquito. But that's my place. That's my secret place. So my assignment is to each one of us is to create your island, create your heaven place where you go to whenever you feel anxious, depressed, and you need to escape. That's your escape island. That's your assignment. And we'll see you next week and hear what it's about. Next month. I'm sorry.
Next month, yeah.
Okay, that sounds really great. I'm gonna create mine for sure.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I notice whenever I get upset or angry, I feel frustrated, I stop and go and do something fun. I go for a walk, I start cooking, do something, and I stop saying thank you. Like I look at things that I like in my house, like, oh, I like this. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for bringing it into my life. And just started saying thank you. And it changed the whole mood. And whatever you was dealing with that made you frustrated, you're able to see it better and deal with it more positive. So you bring that positivity to you. I don't like to stay in the upset very long, like I'm not dealing with this. So find something, to be happy about, to be thankful about, and just stay there until you get that peace. And just start laughing at anything, laughing at something your mate did, or something a friend did, or something a child or grandchild, or something that you did that just tickles you. And just think about that. And just start laughing, and it shifts your whole mood. So,
Just a comment.
yes.
I have a new family practitioner doctor that whenever she takes my blood pressure, she says, I want you to go to your happy place.
I love it. Yep.
Yeah.
And it truly does work.
Okay.
Your
Thank
blood
you for
pressure
that.
does go back to normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so great. Yeah, this has been a great call. Really appreciate it. And again, wanted to let you know about the upcoming events. We have several planned for, we have one in December for PWIC San Francisco. And we're doing 5 of the areas. So I think that one is, I believe it's on mental health with Carletta, addressing mental health. And we're, pulling together that panel for that. I might have to put you on the panel, Paula, since I know now that you had that experience.
I want the events in September again, if you could go over those, please.
Yes, September, we have September 18th is Houston, Health and Wellbeing. September 25th is reducing recidivism, we're working with the sheriff office there.
What was the first one? 17th?
Pardon?
What was the first one?
San Francisco is in December. I think it's the first Friday in December.
No, I'm looking the one September.
Oh, September 18th, Houston, Health and Wellbeing Roundtable. And I'll get to see Joanne, that's where she is. And also, and Joanne, I didn't call on you. I am so sorry. I was just looking at you taking it all in and smiling. And I know you get the recording.
It's okay. It's okay. Actually, what I wanted to say will fit next time, because it fits in with what did the Najia, what she just said for
Okay.
us to start working with.
Okay.
I was going to talk about that kind of thing. Exactly.
Okay.
Because that's what keeps me going right now, is that kind of thing. So I'll talk about it next time.
Okay. And yeah, again, I apologize. I was just so into everybody.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, it's
Yeah,
fine. No problem. I was enjoying everybody. I'm glad I got on. I hadn't been on the last 2 calls. So
yeah.
I'm glad I got on.
I'm
This is
really
good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. So the 25th is in New Orleans, reducing recidivism, and then the 26th of September is our world prayer. It's a prayer it started with New Orleans Lower Ninth Ward to do a prayer circle. I spoke to someone sharing it here in San Francisco, and we're doing it in San Francisco with I believe on the steps of City Hall. But they're praying for New Orleans and they're praying for San Francisco. And then I talked to Maureen, who was just on the call. They're doing it in Pennsylvania and in Las Vegas. She have connections, and then it went worldwide. And you know, all about. Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me?
You're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, I just got a
Can
Yes,
now.
Can you
yes,
hear me now?
yes.
Okay.
You're good.
I guess I wasn't, I guess the evil ones didn't want me to talk about the world prayer. So anyway, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So we're doing, so it is gone. So our member, Mary Pwic, who has World Connections, and Irma, who lives in Paris, are one of our members. They're putting it out through all of the world leaders. And we started that. So September the 26th is a world prayer, praying for peace, harmony, for good health, for and that for our leaders, that we could bring our children up in a safe and better world, that they could use their innate gifts and talents. So it's in the newsletter. Marion is finishing up the flyer that we're going to send out to all of the leaders worldwide. They're sending out a press release, and we did that. So September 26th, mark your calendars. We have the times, 4 o'clock San Francisco, and it is 6 o'clock New Orleans time. It's the same time that we'll be doing a world prayer. I don't know how it's going to work without a country. So I told them we have for the out of countries to figure out a time that it works for them, because it may be their daytime, our nighttime, like that. But yes, it started here, and it started with all of the power that you are. Yes. Carol Ruth.
I hope that you are not limiting this day of prayer, or this universal prayer, to Christianity.
No, it's
only,
for everybody to pray.
every time that I am involved in listening to the beginning or the end of these meetings, and they invoke the Lord Jesus, who is not my Lord and is not my God, I become resentful. So I do hope that you will take that into consideration. You know, Jesus was a carpenter in Nazareth, a nice Jewish boy who made good. And we all admire him for that. We who are not Christians, but we do not wish to have his adherents, people like you, thrust his image on us.
So our prayer is a world prayer that goes out to anybody, to everybody, for whoever they believe. And yeah, I just wanted you to know that.
I'm looking at the invitation, Carol Ruth, and it's definitely generic. Okay. I don't have the cross of Jesus there. It's not like that. I have the world and hands, and then what we're talking about. So you'll see it. Okay.
Let's see it now.
Well, I could send it to Valerie,
finished.
but
yeah, it's not quite finished. We're still working on it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So
let's
and
see the
one
draft.
other thing you might consider is, rather than detracting, or rather than deducting the images of the Christian cross, is to add the symbols of the Hindu symbols,
yeah, we're not putting any symbols so people could feel free. Yeah.
Yeah.
there are a lot more symbols now than there used to be. Now you have to add
Yeah,
the,
we're not looking.
American
That's too much
Indian
for my brain.
and all the other indigenous peoples, the Maori in Australia, etc. So maybe that's not a good way to go, because it would load up this thing with
Yeah,
a
yeah,
bunch
we're
of
not doing
symbols that
that.
you don't need.
Yes. Okay, well, I think everyone, this was a great call. We're up to great things, and
Oh, Valerie,
yes.
before we go, just to follow up with what Carol Ruth Silver said, maybe the group can consider different words of inspiration from a variety of sources, and maybe that, rotate that, I think, to address what Carol Ruth was just talking about.
Okay. I'll send a prayer to you, Denise. So, I think that's it. I will be in touch. Feel free to call me. We all family here. And I just appreciate all of you. So have a good rest of your weekend. Oh, I'm breaking up again.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little
Okay.
bit, yes. Yeah.
Have a good rest of your weekend, and we will talk soon.
All right.
Paula, you're requesting
have a
Thank
something?
you. Thank you all.
Okay, bye-bye.
This was very
Thank
good
you.
today. Thank you.
By the
Bye,
way,
everybody.
Bye.
that was artificial intelligence whiteboards.
Oh, got
Hey, there you
it.
go.
And that's an option on the Zoom meetings now, just so you guys know.
Okay.
Using AI.
Yep,
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's
that's what it
everywhere.
was.
Yeah, and Paul, I really like rebranding, rebranding ourselves every time we go through something and have to deal with it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I could do that.
There
Rebrand
you
me.
go.
That's right. We've all
Love
done
it.
it. Don't
Yeah.
you guys be shy. I see it all the time. We have to keep doing it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Marion. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you,
Thank
Mary.
you.
Ruth.
So
Bye-bye.
good to see all
Thanks,
of you.
Dr. Najia.
Have a
Thanks,
wonderful,
Connie.
wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.
Au revoir, madame.
Bye.
Thanks, Janet.
Bye.
Wait, I'm not done with my thank yous.
Oh, everybody's gone but me.
Okay, thank you, Valerie. I'd like everyone to be introduced to the powerful woman of the whole group, Valerie Bocage.
Well,
And
thank
yes,
you.
she came from Katrina, and that's how we got her. And we're not giving her back.
I love it.